Okay, so this is a 2010 Toyota Tundra with the 5.7 V8. Customer's complaint, coolant leak. Located the coolant leak, it's the water pump. I've already started, because of the diagnostic procedure, to verify. I went ahead and pulled the 12 millimeter nuts that secure the fan, and remove the fan shroud. So we got the nuts, the fan shroud out of the way. Pressurized the system, saw that it was leaking, looks like from the weep hole down here. Now this is a big job, 7 hours I think. It is not fun. So I went ahead and took the upper radiator hose off so you have camera access. And basically what's got to be done is there's a couple of hoses that's got to come off. There's a separate housing for the thermostat that attaches to the water pump. We got the water pump bolts that we'll have to get off, the pulley bolts that'll come off, and they do recommend using a fan clutch tool to get in here and secure it. What I'm going to be using is a small impact to get these off. You want to do it, if you're doing it at home, attempt to do it with the belt secure. You can put these nuts back on and put the belt back in place and loosen them that way. Get like a pry bar in between the head and kind of lock it in place that way. That's one way to do it, but we're just going to use an impact. So we got some hoses to get off. This does have the cooler, oil cooler, so we got to get some hoses off out of the way, and then we'll have a little bit more access. So I'm going to go ahead and get you in time lapse and show you the process of doing a water pump on this 2010 Toyota Tundra with the 5.7. Okay, so that was kind of a little bit of ways. So there's basically the water pump. All right, so right there is the water pump. Now you can access it in other scenarios than what the manufacturer recommends, because they tell you to take all the hoses out of the way and remove a bunch of stuff, but you can do it without it. The big thing is getting that thermostat housing off, which is those 12 millimeter bolts. There's 3 of them, and then that gives you a lot more room in there to get the rest out. So I'm going to put this thing back together. I'm going to try and do a different angle so that way you can see where everything goes, which is going to be kind of tough, but we will figure it out. So I'm going to go ahead and get some cleaning material in there, clean up and make sure everything's good for when we put it back together. So there we go. Alright, so there it is. Sorry for the bad camera angle. I'll see if I can't get in a different angle putting this thing back together. But they're a mixture of 12 millimeter bolts all the way around. There's two on the top side up here that are 14 millimeter. But once you get this side over here, there's the 3 bolts that hold the thermostat housing. Once you get those 3 bolts out, and all the hoses disconnected from it, then there's a lot more room to get in here and get access to all the rest of the bolts for the water pump, the 12 millimeter bolts. Some of them are going to be long, but the rest of them are short. I think there's 3 long ones, so make sure it goes in the right spot. So I'm going to go ahead and get some my carbide scraper in there, make sure I get all the debris out, and then we'll put it back together, and I will try to change the angle so you guys can see what's going on. Alright, I hope that's a better camera angle here. So we got the water pump in. I have not put any of the bolts in besides the 2, just securing it in place, as you can see. So we're going to go ahead and get the bolts in. I'm going to do this in time lapse, but I'm going to do it real slow for you so you guys can see. Once I get that done, we'll move the camera around a little bit, show you the thermostat housing, how that's going to go in. So I'm going to go ahead and get you in time lapse and go through this real slow for you. Alright, so we got all the hoses put back in place, put all the clamps in, topped it off, or filled it with coolant, 50-50 mix. There's still a couple things I still got to do. I still got to attach the bracket bolts and things like that, but I wanted to go ahead and get it up to pressure, make sure everything is holding. So right there, it's sitting at 13.5, which is basically where I want it. It's been sitting that way for a couple minutes, so it's lost a little bit of pressure. That's not uncommon. But what we're really looking for is to make sure that the leak is fixed. Make sure the gaskets and everything is sealed. That way we just make sure we don't have to worry about it. And it also helps kind of push the coolant down into the engine a little bit better when you put pressure on it, so it takes less heat cycles to get full of fluid. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to put this on camera, but I'm going to go ahead and put these accessory bolts in. and get the water pump pulley back in place, tightened up. Go ahead and run the belt, and then I will go ahead and show you the process that I disassembled the fan clutch and everything that I took out before I started recording. So we'll go ahead and finish letting this button up, and I'll get you in time lapse when I put the fan clutch in. Okay, so we got the flex fan, clutch fan reinstalled, and radiator fan shroud, everything's back in place. We are going to go ahead and top off the coolant and then start it up and let it run up to operating temperature. So that is the process for the water pump on a 2010 Toyota Tundra with the 5.7.